got nervous. It's been a while. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I have to return to full sexy. I'm growing my hair out and obviously I always look amazing. Okay, so my vision is like eyebrow is where I'll do the line. But it is awkward growing your hair out. And because I know I want like a tapered fro vibe eventually before I have the length do the Kamala Harris blowout, I'm just gonna let myself do a fade. And I haven't done a fade in literally years, so we're gonna do it together. I am optimistic, y'all know me. And as I do this, I'm gonna give you a little bit of an update on my life and my inner world, because it's obviously been a hot minute since I've made a YouTube video. And shout out to Iman for saying like, girl, I miss your videos. So I host these weekly Hello Creator Roundtable calls, and that's where she mentioned it. And then I told a friend, and then my friend was like, girl, I miss them too. And I was like, okay, well, if y'all are missing me, let me go ahead and bring my ass back, okay? I didn't mean to deprive y'all of my spirit. So here we are, let's fucking do it, okay? As you see, I have a new background, so I moved. I was in my original apartment in Mexico for 3 months. It was a 3-month lease. Y'all, the moment I stepped into that apartment, I was truly putting on a good face because I'm a silver lining kind of girl. I'm gonna find the joy. I'm gonna find the thing to celebrate wherever I am. And truly that space did have a lot of great features. But when I tell you the moment, like the door opened and I walked into that apartment and my heart sank and I was so sad and so disappointed. The space just, it was exactly as advertised, but the motivation for me choosing it and for even being in Mexico was from this place of poverty and lack and scarcity, and it just mirrored all of that energy right back to me. What I actually wanted was a home. I wanted a safe, cute, warm, I wanted a couch, I wanted a television, like I wanted a living room and I wanted a bedroom. I wanted a real space, and the apartment that I was renting was actually that woman's place of business. She did sound bowl type stuff, right? So she kept her living room open so that she could have clients and host events. It just wasn't what I was actually looking for, but I was locked into a 3-month lease. It literally sounds so insane when I say it now, but I literally had been glamorizing the idea of having a landlord, as if I didn't know everything people say about landlords and landladies. Basically that final month, there was no Wi-Fi in the apartment for the entire month. First, the lady was like, you need to call up the service and get them to come see you. I'm in a different country. And I actually went along with that. That's what I'll say about that experience. It really mirrored where I was energetically, because I really went along with someone telling me, no, you do it. I should have been like, the no, right? But instead I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. I call them, we make an appointment, they don't show up. Happens 2 more times. So basically, didn't have Wi-Fi in that apartment. But you know me, I'm finding the silver linings. So because of that, I ended up going to more cafes and then going to a co-working space. So I had that like 3rd place. I think it's technically still a 2nd place because it's home and work. But I had another place where I could go, and then I got to meet more people, be outside more, get to know the neighborhood more. So I do feel like it really blessed me. But I would say the hardest part about my last month in that apartment was experiencing major flooding. So if you follow me on my personal Instagram, which I actually recently made private because y'all, I'm really loving minding my business, keeping my business to myself, not telling my business on the internet. That's also part of why I haven't really been on YouTube, is because I'm like, I don't need to tell these people nothing. Like, why am I here? But if you were on my Instagram when it was public, I posted this insane flooding that happened during one of the storms here in Mexico. I really wrestled with talking about it because in my mind, I was like, oh, you should make a video and explain how this apartment was a nightmare and no one should ever rent from it and the landlady was terrible and all these different things, right? And I realized if you are a vibrational match for some bullshit, you're going to encounter some bullshit. And that's truly just what was going on. Like, I was a vibrational match for it. In other circumstances, if someone experienced flooding like that, they would pack up their shit and they they would leave, right? And that's what I wanted to do in that moment, but I wasn't financially resourced to be able to do that. That ended up being a really big motivator for me, also kind of pulling back from YouTube and focusing on paid work that would get me some money, because I was like, I never want to be in a situation again where something like this happens and I can't pack up my stuff in that moment and leave. So instead of doing that, I spent literally hours like manually sweeping water from the entire apartment. And while this was happening, again, I was like, I'm gonna make the best of this. I put music on. And I think the hardest part for me was that, well, that was the hardest part. But then what was also challenging is when I reached out to my landlady to be like, you know, hey, this terrible thing has happened. She in fact sort of made it about her. She was like, this is my home. Like, you know, you may be renting, girl, this is my space. My stuff is gonna get ruined, and basically started having a panic attack. And I totally understand being scared because she was in a foreign country, so she couldn't be on site to help. I get that. But what I noticed about me is that I sort of turned into consoler. So even though I'm the one actually experiencing the situation, I'm like calming her down. I'm telling her about trauma healing, like all these things, right? And then she ends up not being grateful at all. In fact, she's like, you know, why weren't you up on the roof in the middle of the lightning storm and trying to fix the drain? Like, why were you making videos about it, you know? It was a good reminder that when we act from a place of wanting other people to feel a way about us, usually feel really good about us, not from like a genuine, you know, motivation in our own heart, it's only gonna come back to bite us. It's a beautiful thing to be generous and to be considerate and to be compassionate and to give of yourself. And if you're doing it in a way that's not embodied, if you're pouring from an empty cup, you're gonna end up bitter and angry and upset. So essentially, like, that was it for me and my landlady. Before that point, we were sending voice notes, we were chatting, it was real friendly. After that experience, and I saw how she just had no compassion for me and didn't have the capacity to hold any space for what I was experiencing as her tenant, I was like, okay, this is a business relationship, all right? We are texting, there will be no emojis, we are getting things done. Part of also why I didn't want to make a video is because she still had my security deposit. Part of me, given some of the other ways she behaved, didn't really think I'd get it back. I've also never gotten a security deposit back when I lived in the US and would rent, so I kind of was just like, whatever. But I started doing this thing inspired by Steve Harvey, of all people. He had a video, and I watched the Instagram Reel version of it, where he talks about making a list of 300 things that you want, and then you basically read the list every morning, and you just connect to the idea that God is for you and is gonna sort of create these things in your life. And then in a year, you basically see how many things come to pass. I saw this on Instagram and the comments were full of people saying, I did this and it worked. Someone said, I did a list of 300 and 100 of those things happened. And I was like, that's super high. So I started doing that. And I think I'm at like 175. Already like 5 to 6 things have come true from the list. And one of them was actually getting my security deposit back from this woman. And so she actually gave it back to me. So I feel very much like that energy has enzoed. I obviously would strongly recommend not to rent there, just because in addition to all the BS, it's also across the street from a very loud club. And so from Wednesday to Sunday, from like 9 p.m., maybe 8 p.m. to like 2 in the morning, you will literally be like hearing pounding music. That was when I knew that I had been scammed, you know? And that's when I knew, you know, when things are priced, they're priced for that reason. Where I am now, I'm obviously spending more, and I'm so happy. It's truly worth every single penny. And I'm gonna switch out of this guard. So this has been the 1/8 of an inch. For this next level, I'm actually gonna switch to this 1/16 of an inch. You may also be wondering what my long-term plans are. So I thought about, you know, returning to the United States, especially with the election. I feel like Kamala's gonna win, and I wanna be in DC for the vibes, because I know it's gonna be amazing. But it makes sense to just keep my costs low, keep saving, keep investing, keep paying off credit card debt, and just kind of live within my means, which feels really, really good. So I'm gonna be here in Mexico for the foreseeable future, but you know how things are, y'all. The good Lord says, get your ass up and go somewhere, I'ma do it. And then I have Christmas plans to take my ass to Europe, do like a European Christmas. We're giving it to God. I also have no idea what my upload schedule is gonna look like. Part of my reasons for uploading originally were around having this vehicle that I would always be able to use to attract opportunities, you know, like the things that I'm able to make lots of money doing now came from YouTube, right? Started from YouTube and then like it spread into my network. But one thing I'm realizing is that God can give opportunities any kind of way, right? If you're open to it. For instance, I just had this in-home massage. First time ever having someone come to where I stay and give me a massage. The way I found out about this woman, I was minding my business in a cafe. I just finished doing some work. I was like, oh, let me get some lunch. I go to this cafe. There's no one in there besides one other Black woman. She finishes up her meal. She comes over. She's like, hey girl. And I'm like, hello. You know? We start having a whole conversation and she mentions, I just finished having the best like 2-hour massage and it was like $60. And I was like, share those details with me. The way I never spoke to this person again, but she gave me the details for this masseuse, messaged her, she came over and I had an amazing, I did 90 minutes. I've also never had a 90-minute massage, I don't ever think. It was glorious, it was so freaking good. So if there's something for you, if there's something you want, truly just connect to the vibration of it and God will find a way to bring that thing into your life. So yeah, when it comes to creating YouTube videos, I was like, you don't need to make videos for some like, okay, God, if I make this video, then the right person will see it and they'll give me the opportunity. No, if you want to create something, you can create it and have fun, and that can be the whole thing, and that should be the whole thing. Joy and creativity and sharing, and that's that. If anything else comes from that, it's the cherry on top. And it feels so nice to be connected to abundance in that way, because the beginning of my time here in Mexico was really rooted on living on a prayer, but not even really, because I didn't necessarily believe the prayer would be answered. I had a lot more doubt, but I was still sort of acting on faith anyway, especially around my finances. Y'all, I was very much like, I may have $4.63 in my bank account, but more money is coming. And it's so nice to go from checking every invoice and when it would land in my account to sort of make decisions around paying bills and where I would stay and things like that, to truly having money just drop into my account and there's no immediate thing that I have to like just go spend it on. And I'm really grateful for Mexico because I feel like it allowed me to release a lot of the subtle messages that I developed from living with my family for so long. And one of the key ones was the sense of any morsel, any little bit of support and help and kindness and anything else, like I'm just so grateful for it. Like, oh, thank you so much, right? And this sense of like, I can't advocate for the things that I want because I'm not paying rent here, right? And so to be able to witness that part of me that just didn't feel that it was safe to really ask for what I wanted and needed, and slowly love myself enough to be like, no, actually, I know exactly what I want. I want a cute-ass apartment. I want it to be clean and safe. I want amazing light. And that was one of the things I came to as I was getting this massage, was the only difference is that you think you deserve it. And because you think you deserve it, you pay for it and you actually have the experience. That's the only difference. That's why I live the life I live, is because this is what I think I deserve. And if there's anything else I want in my experience, the only reason I don't have it is because on some level, I'm not fully embodying the sense of actually deserving it. Okay, we're gonna put the 1/8 back on. One of my fears with this haircut is that I would look too masculine. I used to have a haircut like this, but it was when my hair was dyed blonde because I felt like that color kind of gave me some extra femininity. But you know, I just truly have to be me and understand that my sexiness is literally just who I am. It's just my soul. I have a sexy soul, and that's always gonna come through regardless. And also maybe just like put on some earrings and some eyeliner and maybe even a lipstick. Remember that? Gosh, remember when I used to wear a lipstick on here, y'all? Different woman. I might do it for the final look just because I feel like that always makes it extra dramatic, you know? And you might be thinking, Chimdi girl, you are so brave. To take a set of clippers to your own hair and try to fade it. Such confidence, such bravery. And let me just say, part of why I feel so confident is because my very last haircut before I started growing my hair out was at a barber shop for the very first time in my life. It was amazing. Another time where I was like, this is what men are up to. It felt so good. It was so luxurious. It felt so pampered. And I'm like, if I really screwed this up, I could always go to a barber shop and fix it, right? There's always a solution. And then worst comes to worst, I'll literally just go back to having a shortcut, grow it out. You know, this only took like maybe a month and a half, 2 months tops, grow it out again, and start from scratch, right? We got time, we're abundant here. I'm gonna go ahead and hop in the shower. So I literally just shampoo my hair and then I use this children's hair gel that I bought from the grocery store here. It's ATM Repele Piojos. So this is what I'm gonna use to style my hair, and then we're gonna see about the final product. All right, this is the final look. How did I do? All right, does it look masculine or am I pulling it off? Does the red lip help? I'm gonna give you a full 360. Let me know if it's worth going to a barber and having them fix it up, or if you think I'm pulling it off. And the thing with having hair that's still this short is that it's gonna grow in like a week's time, and so I'll have to keep kind of futzing with it anyway. I'm pretty satisfied. I think I look cute. I'm also really impressed at how simply a haircut can change your whole vibe, and I am loving it. It feels really good. So thanks for hanging out. If you want to hang out with me every Wednesday, I host a weekly digital creator roundtable for Hello Creator. You can join it, it's for free. It's every Wednesday at noon. I'm also a creative coach, so if you want some one-on-one support with showing up consistently and authentically on YouTube, or with whatever your creative endeavor is, definitely put some time on my calendar. And I will see you on the next one. Don't know when that'll be, but I'll see you then. Bye.